Hello, dear friends. Here we are, 40 nights with the Promised Consoler, and this is day or night 27. Yes, it is, and what a blessing to be here together. Yes, it is a true blessing. And today we're going to be studying together. What are we going to be studying? Chapter 19th of the book Luz Acima, titled The Different Oracle. Yes, it is. And we are here with you to share that this is a message that comes to boost the best in us, to boost the divine inside of us. Thank you, Carol Correa and Mark, for helping us. They're double checking our system, the radio system. Yes, we're also transmitting not only the Facebook Live, Kardec Radio, but also we're here with you together, right? On the app. Yes. And for you who is connected with us, and if you know friends who cannot be with us live, remember, we have a YouTube channel as well, if they don't have Facebook, where each and every episode here is gonna be uploaded there. And you can watch, you can share. Okay, friends? This is it. Yes, today it's about the different oracle. But let us recap a little bit. The Promised Consoler comes to say things that were not able to be said before, and also to be with us until the end of times. What does that mean? It means that we're going to get to know more about life, about ourselves through this message, and it's going to accompany us in our journey. So the more I get to know of this, I get to know of myself. I can walk step by step, feeling the company of the Promised Consoler. It's been 27 days. How do you feel? Do you feel different? Me too. Why? Because we feel it is the presence of Christ with us daily, right? The other day I was in this doing grocery shopping, and I recall being at the cashier, thinking about what to do next. And I recalled when we were here in our therapeutic conversations, and Mentor Joseph was advising us to be mindful and also to think of the ones who are in front of us, and they also deserve the best of us, the divine, our attention, our consideration. So I looked deeply in the eyes of the cashier, and I said in my mind, you are light, you are love, you are joy of living. And she gave me the receipt, and I recall Mentor Joseph saying, say the name of the person. Because when we say the name of the person, we're evoking the soul to the present. We're evoking the whole being to the present. It's not by chance that we have names. It could be like Spirit A, B, C, D, right? The whole alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. But we're more than the alphabet. We're the whole beings. And when we call each other by the name, we're being reverent to the experience that brought this person to this life. And we say smiling, hello Anne, hello John, hello Paul, etc. Right? These are important things for all of us. Hello, Nilda. How are you? Welcome, welcome. And hello, McCurfy Claire. How are you? Beautiful Leia Severo, how are you? And we have here Valéria Benfica, Raquel Murray, if I'm not mistaken, right? The pronunciation. And Solange Silva, how are you, Solange? Adilson, how are you, Adilson Araújo? Sunshine Sabine Beck. Here we have, right, you. Yes. And we, this is playing games with me. It's playing games with me for some reason. And here we have more and more. I'm pulling down and it's bringing back up. So if I miss any of you, please keep coming. Carol Correia, hello. She's saying hello to Valéria. Hello to the friends. Rihanna. Mamma mia, Rihanna. Let me share with you. Remember when we were here the day we were completing 120 days non-stop every day sharing these messages? And Mentor Joseph said, the math is such that if we put together those 120 hours, it's gonna give us the once a week attendance of somebody who does anything, like for example, going to a Spiritist center once a week for 2.5 years. So being together here for more than 120 days, it means we're attending a Spiritist center for 2.5 years or more in a little more than 4 months. So that makes a huge difference. The disciples that were walking side by side with Jesus, the ones in the college of the apostolate, when they were together, they were doing this true internship with Jesus. There was the close disciple and the distant one. They were the closest ones. Not only attending like in an immersion of teachings, but they were also being called to the challenges. Okay? So let us think about this, because as we are here attending very closely, not these lessons with me because I'm just the facilitator, but the Master is also calling us to the tests to make sure that we learn the lessons. Are we ready? Yes, Jussara, how are you? And Angelita, how are you, Angelita? Valéria Benfica is saying hi to Carol, Mark, and everyone. Ready? Now we're ready, right? Because this chapter is going to surprise you. It's a little funny, very deep, very interesting. It talks about habits that people used to have 2,000 years ago, but still do in a different way. The different oracle. Tullia Prisca was a Roman patrician woman, friends with Joanna, wife of Cusa. Let's not forget that Joanna was a patrician that got to know Jesus' teachings, became a disciple. Though at first she could not be there every day, but then she became a true disciple. She embraced it all. But as a patrician, she fulfilled her life as a patrician, though dedicating her whole heart to the teachings of Jesus. Just to give you some background about it, Humberto de Campos narrates a beautiful experience. Tullia Prisca informed Joanna, who was the wife of Cusa, in Capernaum, my sorcerer from Velabrum is prodigious. Imagine that I come to Judea on his advice. since he is interested in my happiness. He is one of the best oracles. We brought him from Achaia on the last trip that my uncle, the procurator Ammianus, carried out on an administrative mission. He read the omens, and he foresees who will win at any of the games in the circus. He unveils criminals, and he indicates with absolute precision the place where there are lost objects. Joanna, who listened to Tullia attentively, showed a singular strangeness in her expression. After a brief pause, the patrician woman continued, blinking her eyes. Visualize it, blinking. I'm blinking just so if you're watching it, you visualize it. Druso, my husband, fell in love with Messia, the wife of Flaccus. The crime strangled my heart. I tried to cut open my veins and die, but Tisiphorus, my wizard, solved the problem. He advised me on a pleasurable trip and assured me that other men would like me, as has been the case. I left my little boys with the old slaves, and the galley solved the rest. I have enjoyed it a lot. When I return, if Messia, my husband's affair, insists on the meddling, my psychic, the enchanter, will fabricate a fatidic ointment. She will be uglier than the Esquilin's witches. Pause for a second. For those who are entering now, or those who are there, because Humberto de Campos uses very elaborated language that we keep true. But he's talking about people who are used to visiting psychics, people who are fortune tellers, psychics. It's so common nowadays, has always been common, and she was quite dependent on it. Okay. A pause soon fell on the conversation. However, the illustrious foreigner continued. Joanna, you may not know me well. I must confess, however, that I like to consult sorcerers of every condition. I have heard of one of them who became famous in this province. I know you are connected to him. Can you lead me to the Nazarene sorcerer? Let's pay attention. Joanna did her best to dodge the request. She was not to disturb the master with frivolous and useless visits. However, the insistence overcame the reluctance, and in a few minutes, Jesus received them in Peter's modest home. As almost always, there was a sublime melancholy in Jesus' gaze. The young matron was intimidated. She was intimidated by Jesus. That man did not leap to the common fortune reader. There were incomprehensible forces that came out of his forehead, emanating respect. Pause, my friends. How many people came across Jesus with that intention of meeting the prophet, the psychic, the sorcerer, the wizard, the magician, whatever name we give to it, the healing medium. And Humberto de Campos is describing something so unique because it's beyond the dialogue. It's about the behind the scenes of the character's emotions, the true exchange of vibrations. People often ask, if Jesus was going through the whole thing, what did he feel? There he is. Almost always he had this sublime melancholy. That's very interesting. If you go to the pages of the Gospel according to Spiritism, Kardec publishes there spirit messages, and one in particular that talks about melancholy. And the spirit author of the message reveals to us of the importance of not engaging in that feeling, because it can create an obstacle to our will. But here Humberto de Campos is talking about a different type of melancholy, a sublime melancholy. What is it? You know, when you look at a child and you see that they are just like messing up with the toys, throwing everything on the floor just because they feel like doing it. I learned with Mentor Joseph that they are practicing the law of destruction. And you know, it's a learning. Law of destruction is part of life. So be it. Sometimes just allow them to, you know, go muddy just for the sake of practicing the deconstruction, psychologically speaking, so they can learn to construct. But anyhow, we the parents or the educators look at that child with that melancholic eye, the one in which you long for the best of that child, but in a sublime way. Jesus almost always has that look, the gaze, because he's looking at us knowing that the best in us is about to come. So he smiles, but he has that look, like when they look and say, you, come on, come, bring it about, the divine in you. So it's that longing for the divine in us that we're still resisting to allow it to blossom. I know many people who come and say, Vanessa, I would love to do this, that, and the other. I know these are good things, but I am shy. Or I am afraid what people are going to think of me. I'm afraid of bringing this beautiful book and sharing with my loved one because they are not going to understand. But that's what we've been learning here. Jesus has been calling us, let it shine. And that's why he has this sublime melancholic look, because he trusts the best in us, sublime, but longs for the divine that we're yet to allow to. Don't be afraid of being good. Let it shine. Right, the song? Right, Rita Di Cassia? Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. I'm a little light of, this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine, this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Right, Rosalind Rosa and Célio Rocha and the beautiful wife, how are you? And Erica and Danny, how are you? Right, friends? Good pause. Good pause. Now, Jesus. Incomprehensible forces that came out of his forehead emanating respect. That's why André Luiz in the book Christian Agenda says a virtue is not a mouth that speaks, but what? Force that emanates. Some people are puzzled, but how do I conquer respect? People feel respect about me. It's the inner, it's not the words. Listen to this. As Tulia treated him by Lord, emulating Joanna's reverent attitude, she could not disguise her own astonishment. The Nazarene seemed to ignore the high hierarchical position. That's what she thought. Jesus offered no biography on himself. He did not comment on the successes that marked his passage amongst the people. He faced her straight forward without false superiority and also without subservience. As a self-assured worker who is attentive to his own obligations, Jesus waited for the visitor to lay out the motives that brought her there. Here, we're learning something very special. This is the Jesus we're coming to know. The one we didn't know before. The truth being revealed to us. A master that is guiding you and I. Isn't that frustrating when you know somebody and they don't know you? And you feel like telling everything about you so they know who you are? Jesus is teaching us not to go there. No, unless they ask. But, you know, when you say, oh, I'm Vanessa Saloni, and then you feel like that anxiety. But people don't know who I am. I need to tell them. I need to lay it out so they know the good things that I do, my profession, blah, blah, blah. No. Respect, as he says here, something that vibrates. Right? And you, they saying, oh, Master, son. Exactly. Yes. Mr. Sun, Mr. Golden Sun, please shine down on us here. Thank you, Anilda. Love it. Right, Rita Di Cassia? Yes, we're going to sing an opera. We hope. Opera of love. Let's come to the symposium, shall we? This May 5th and get together. Shall we meet there? Rita Di Cassia, Enilda, Sunshine, Carol, Mark, Erica and Danny. And who else here in the group is going to join? Shall we, friends? Join us. We want to see everybody there. Imagine the group meeting there. And we can sing the whole book of songs we have been singing. But look at this. Look at this. He's teaching us a lesson. Do not say, oh, but I do this, that, and the other so people respect us. Respect doesn't come from outside in. People respect us not because we're saying, respect me because I'm a president of this country, because it doesn't matter. Right? Beautiful! Enilda, I hope you will be there. I know Glaucio, Enilda, Rita de Cássia, Lea Severo, Karen Mark, many friends. Come join us, please. Please, please, please. And remember the campaign, the flight, the airline ticket. Shoo. Right? And don't forget, April 18th, National Day of Spiritism, the United States Spiritist Federation is leading a prayerful day through Kardec Radio, and we hope the friends at the Spiritist Radio join us. We can share the files and double the joy. Yes, double joy. With Jesus, that's always the result. Unity and joy. Well, embarrassed by the unexpected, Tulia Prisca asked Jesus with disappointment, because she was expected to be served, to be asked about something, and Jesus didn't say a word. He teaches us to be, not to speak, not to do anything, but to be. Lord, do you know Tisiphorus, the sorcerer who serves our home? She was asking Jesus if he knew the psychic that lived with them. Jesus opened his lips in a loving smile and replied, "This is the coaching program we do every day at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's Jesus in front of us, thanks to Humberto de Campos' descriptions, teaching our minds, the mirror neurons, to capture a new way of behaving so we can display an attitude." So she was asking something that people may think, oh, it's such a silly question. He didn't take it for granted. He respected us, because we can only be respected when we respect. Jesus opened his lips in a loving smile, and answered, "There are diviners everywhere. There are psychics everywhere. People may come to you in your center and ask, 'Do you know John of God?' And I know spiritists who are bothered by this question, because they're like, they don't know anything. Hey, Jesus respects to be respected. I remember when I asked Divaldo Franco, when we visited John of God, in a personal but also in a spiritist expedition, right? Field trip with friends, 2005. And then, truly impressed. It's not fake. No. And I said, Divaldo, it's unbelievable. What do you think, and what does Joanna think about it? And he said, Vanessa, he's a true medium. And he's doing the work that we, the spiritists, are not doing. Because you go to John of God, and you come back to the United States or to the world knowing about Kardec and Spiritism. He is being the instrument of spreading the news, because we who live in the United States, you know the story, right? If we don't say it in English, people are not going to know. We keep it only to our communities. Some people ask me, Vanessa, why Spiritism is not like widely spread in the United States? For one reason, because we don't, if all the centers in the United States only spoke in English, try. Can we try it for a month only in English to make a difference? How many people are going to come in? Just try. It's a test. And then people are going to know. If you go to John of God, they have Spiritist talks in English. There in Brazil. People come from the world, all over the world, and they have people prepared to speak it in English. And they come to know. I remember when they were reading messages of Joana de Ângeles in English, of Kardec, etc. And then people come back. So, when people come to us and say, do you know of John of God? Yes, there are diviners everywhere. In this case, there are mediums everywhere. Confused by the intelligent observation, Tulia feared a new gap of silence and added, I came here looking for your cooperation. I came here looking for your cooperation. And the master asked, without affectation, what do you want from me? My husband has deviated from my devotion. I have suffered bitterness that the most despicable servants do not know. What do you say to this, Lord? The answer of Jesus. When pain is well understood, it becomes light for the heart. Oh, Tulia said, even when we are offended? And Jesus said, yes. Shall we not fight back? Never. What about justice? Justice is a barren tree that cannot bear the fruits of love for eternal life. Do you imply that if my husband goes mad, I have to pay for him? Not so much. Happiness is impractical where there is no forgetfulness of guilt. Should I forgive my husband? As many times as necessary. Irritated. Observe this. The master, the governor of the planet, talking kindly, lovingly, and she is irritated. Tulia lost her self-control and observed, Druso, my husband, is a pervert. He has been a relentless tormentor. Do I have to respect and love him anyway? Why not? Said the master. He who does not know how to renounce his own desires, he will hardly receive the divine gift of imperishable joy. So, I should go back, resume domestic governance, and take responsibility for the education of my children, like the animal that lets itself to be tied to the unbearable rig? Right? Jesus, imperturbable, says, sacrifice is true glory. Oh, protested the disenchanted patrician woman, Tisiphorus, the sorcerer of my confidence, advised me recreation, joy. I cannot doubt him. He is a complete oracle. He has infallible answers. He sees our gods and always hears them. Focusing on the Lord, she objected, astonished. Do you say he is wrong? The master smiled and replied. You see, she is irritated, and Jesus is still, he's not contaminated by her emotions. No wonder the wisdom we've learned, do not take anything personal, because people are doing it because they need it, not because of us. Apparently, but not because of us. She's not irritated because he is irritating her. It's her It's her status spiritually. The master smiled and replied, the voice of your conscience cannot invariably agree with the opinion of the voice of our conscience cannot invariably agree with the opinion of our best friends. Duty is more imperious than the omens of any soothsayer, the psychics. And you, do you have any news for me? I come from far away, and you do not please me? What message will I receive in this visit to you? And Jesus very serenely said, I pray to the Father to enlighten and bless you. At that moment, Joanna said goodbye. Once they were outside, perhaps troubled by the immense clarity of the sky, bound to the diamond reflections of the lake, the noble Roman spoke disappointed. Yes, decidedly, this oracle is not the same. Very different. How many people at first come to know of the Spiritist message through books or paying visit to the Spiritist center? And later, as they keep going, they feel disappointed, disenchanted. Why? Because they come like this woman. Ooh, I want to see the phenomenon. I want to see the conversation with the spirits. I want to see the instant healings. And they don't find it. They want to go through the readings. They don't find it. The governor of the planet, who knows it all, was here incarnated. And when somebody asked him, what do you think that the other psychic is wrong? When somebody comes to us and asks, what do I do with my life? People are telling me to do this, the others are telling me to do that. What do the spirits say, Vanessa? Jesus is telling us, the voice of our conscience cannot invariably agree with the opinion of our best friends. People are going to give their opinions. But we need to listen to the voice of God inside of us, the laws of God, and fulfill our duties. The duty is more imperious than any benefit given by a seeing medium, a psychic. And what are the news? What do you say to me, Jesus? I pray to the Father to enlighten and bless you. And this chapter is a beautiful message for all the mediums around the world who feel anxious at each and every sitting, even the fraternal counseling. For people who want to train themselves for fraternal counseling, this chapter is the way to go. Jesus listens, vibrates love and respect, but he doesn't tell go right, go left. He empowers the person to take his or her own decisions. We in the fraternal counseling cannot tell people right or left. I remember one day we were doing trainings in another center, and we had a trainee in our room, and this person who was being attended, the attendee, came and laid out the story, and the person said, oh, I have children, but I think I probably am gonna quit my marriage. Mentor Joseph said, Vanessa, empower her to discern on the bigger perspective. So I was telling her, when we finished the session, the trainee came to me and said, why didn't you tell her about the consequences? Because if she does it, and I said, look, right or left, she needs to do it. We didn't tell her right or left. We said, look, these are the tools. You know, because they're in your conscience. Connect with God. Feel the protection of your guardian angel. Don't forget that you're here temporarily in this life. It was a little beyond that, but we cannot tell anybody right or left. Turn right, turn left. Because if we do, you know what happens? If I put myself in the business of people's lives, they come talk to us and we say, yeah, do this, do that, like the sorcerer here. Read the book 50 years later, and you see, and 2,000 years ago too, by Emmanuel, the story of the psychics, the sorcerers, and how they had to reincarnate in the family of the people who were there. Why? Because they incurred in a new debt. It's an observation for us. Jesus is teaching us there's no vanity here. People come and say, I want to see how much of a medium you are. Oh well. As Paul of Tarsus said in the book, Paul and Stephen, we know the account. When this man who used to be a psychic came to him, a healing medium, said, what is your secret? And he says, faith in God and selfless giving. Faith in God and selfless giving. He didn't say, oh, there is a physical recipe. How about us, friends? How many people have family, friends who are not spiritists? They know you're the medium. They know you work on this, and they look at you just like this woman, expecting that you're going to prove it all. Convince them. Don't go there. Jesus here, in his attitude, compassionate, respectful, loving, he teaches us to support the person in the journey of discovery. But don't forget, it's from inside out, not the outside in. We don't have the key to the door of this discovery in the people's lives. They have the key. Don't try to open the door, because if they are not ready, they're not going to come out. It's on them. We support, and we don't need to prove anything. Do we? No. Right, Danielle Castellani? Right, Monica? Right, Tanya and Greg? Exactly. So, the most important thing here for us is what Jesus said. If we don't know how to renounce our own desires, we will hardly receive the divine gift of imperishable joy. If this is the good news, and good news bring us joy through changing our central desire. What is our central desire? Like Tulia, she wanted to be pleased. How about you? How about me? Do you too? Today at the Spirit Side of Virginia, we're studying addiction from a Spiritist perspective. And we brought a passage by Emmanuel through Chico Xavier, in which he tells us that there is a different type of addiction, the addicted mind, that is focused on being rich and doing well in life, he says. For those people, they are just feeding their own addiction in their mind, that noxious habit, changing the way they see, focusing on the material. The materialistic mind is an addicted mind according to the spirits. And Jesus comes to us and invites us to renounce these passing desires and focusing on these ideal and sublime goals in life. What is your sublime goal? What is your sublime ideal? Shall we think about it? Meditate. If it's night for you, let's go to sleep and investigate about our central desire, the sublime one. And if it's going to be your day, like Julija and Rihanna and other friends we're going to watch during the day, what is your sublime ideal that is everlasting and it doesn't stop here in this life? What is it? Shall we meditate? For now, let us keep in mind the beautiful loving smile of Jesus at us, looking at us and inviting us to better days, joy, courage, and faith always. A big kiss and a hug, and don't forget, Orlando, May 5th, together. Let's go there and sing it, okay? Beautiful friends, sunshine, beautiful Enilda. Farewell to you too, my friend, and thank you too.